What's up,
Go.
everybody? Here we go. We are live, no glitches, and we are off and running
Yes, we
for
are.
an hour, and it is going to fly by because we are going to be talking with our guest, Shae, also known as MD Picker, Maryland Picker. And Shae, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. You are an expert when it comes to these YouTube lives, so
I wouldn't call
you
myself an expert, but
you well, you must do at least total the aggregate number of hours per week. You must be at least 4 hours a week, 2 hours, 2 to 4,
oh, it's
maybe.
more than that. Well, usually when I'm on Paul's, I'm on there for at least 2.5 to 3, and then on mine, I'm on there for at least 2.5, 3 hours.
You got us
Yeah.
beat by like 5 hours each,
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah.
Because this is all we do.
Yeah. So just for those that are new and don't know Shae, Shae is a relatively new reseller who also is relatively new at social media on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. So how long exactly have you been reselling? Has it been more than a year or less than a year?
Well, I think technically I've been a reseller for a long time, but whenever I actually initially started getting into it was last March. I really got into it, like more or less like dipping my toe into it and learning about it. And then when I wanted to get more in depth with it was probably about October, November time. So that's whenever I started really getting into it.
And do you do this like full time, or is it a side hustle type?
I like to say that I'm like 3/4 because the amount of time I put in a good bit of time, which I think is more on the full time side of it. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I work in
Gotcha.
pockets of time. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a job; it's just not outside of the home.
Yes.
Of course.
I remember those days.
Yes.
Very difficult.
Yeah. And tell us what you sell. What do you like to buy? What do you like to source the most?
Toys.
Toys. Okay.
Toys, yeah. Anything small. I mean, I sell other things other than toys, but the majority of probably about 90% of what I sell is toys.
So they're like mostly vintage or kind of current?
It's a combination of both. It's current, it's vintage. In my area, I have a better chance of finding vintage toys. So if I go to the bins or any kind of thrift store, there's a good chance I'm gonna find something vintage.
Now, what would you consider a vintage toy? Like, is it the same thing as vintage clothing? Is it the
Yes,
same time frame or?
Yes, anything that's older than like 20 years.
20? Oh my gosh, I thought it was 30.
I think it's technically 21 years is what the actual cutoff. I say whatever's 20 years older. So,
wow.
Which is sad because anything that's from the 90s now or whenever
right.
was
exactly. I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't seem like it should be vintage at all. Yeah, one time we tried to sell some GI Joe toys, the little figurines, and they're really popular, but they were hard to sell. I don't know. I remember that was hard. But
so just to clarify, Mr. Troubles here, he's just saying kids or adults.
God, he's got to come with those kind of questions.
I know.
You must get that a lot.
Kids toys.
Yeah. So I was watching Patrick Murphy had a YouTube a while back, and he went out, found some He-Man toys, and he found from the late 80s, and he found a French fry in one of the toy cars.
Oh, right? Was it still there? Was it still edible?
Honestly, I would have probably taken a bite. Knowing me, I love McDonald's. I would have given it a shot. But he found a French fry in there that must have been like 40 years old.
He probably could have just sold off that French fry.
That's crazy. Yeah, right. Oh my god.
Could just put it up on eBay to sell it. 30-year-old French fry.
So so you're selling toys that are vintage, which means Lori and I are antiques.
Right.
Antiques it's like 100 years old, so I don't think you're there.
So what's in between 20 and 100? What do they call that?
I don't know. I don't
Middle age. Crazy. So you're selling these toys that are either really disgustingly dirty or what? Are they dirty?
Toys.
Okay. Oh, because when I find older Legos in the bins and stuff, they are just caked on with gook. Do you clean them and sell it, or what do you do? Just as is?
I clean things. I tend to go for things I don't have to put a whole lot of effort into, because even though they are small, I still don't want to waste my time doing a ton of cleaning. So yeah, and if they're caked and stuff, it's not going to be worth it for me whatsoever. Because then if you think about the the crud that's on there, once you take that off, you don't know what's under there. You don't know if it's damaged or not.
True.
So
because we sell electronics, we kind of clean them up just to make them look good. But you're right. Sometimes you could do more damage. Decals come off toys and stuff. So, so the whole thing is like we're relatively new at all this stuff with
social media, YouTube,
right.
Dave's more,
So we took our stab at clickbait, and here you go. Is this clickbait or what?
Oh, barely. That's like, I don't know. What do you think, Shae?
I mean, somewhat. I think it's kind of like the title of it. Like, I think people are wondering, like, is it? We're gonna argue over if Mercari is better than eBay or eBay over Mercari. But
So I think. What do you think? When we were doing this, it's almost like we have this kind of like these ethics or whatever. It's like this thing, I don't want to make this look like it's a fight. I don't know where you got the clip art or whatever, the boxing gloves, or was that part of Canva?
It's all Canva. I mean, it just was like, Mercari versus eBay. Boom. I don't know. I don't know. That's like the most cringiest part about this process, in my opinion. Doing those things every week, trying to figure out what to put.
Totally. And Shae, like I mentioned, over this whole thing kind of like was slapped together like on Sunday, because I saw you made a story. You were like, hey, I'm going to be listing more on eBay from Mercari, and I want to document this as we go. And I was like, that is so cool, because I've never seen anything personally where somebody's like, hey, I'm going to make the leap, And so you plan on kind of documenting as you go, like how you feel with eBay?
So, I mean, I think I'm going to go to the point where like, I think I'll do like a monthly recap of how it's going and what's working, what's not working, or like the more of a struggle that I had with eBay. Because me to jump over to eBay is a bigger decision on the fact of I want to grow my business, and I know that in order to do that, I need to go to eBay.
Totally.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. That's kind of like the consensus. Like I know Tommy, who's here, says we should have titled this adult self. That's probably cleaner. Talk about that's clickbait. But Tommy's I would call him an eBay expert. He gives you a run for your money, right, Laura? He knows his stuff.
I think so. Good. I agree. That's up my alley. So, Shae, I'm just curious. So you started out reselling just a Mercari or other platforms as well? So you were strictly Mercari for like up to the last year?
Yes. So I had tried out Poshmark before, and I did that for a little while. It just wasn't my thing, and so I kind of gave up on that one. And then when I decided to go into reselling, I was like, I'll do Mercari, because it seemed like it was easy enough for me to do. It wasn't too complicated. And so that's where I kind of stuck with. Like eBay very much intimidated me. It scared me because I mean, my husband Mike has been selling on there for 20 years, but like I didn't want anything to do with it. It did not appeal to me.
Right.
But if with getting into making and building my own business, I need to step it up, and I need to put my big girl panties on and like take those steps to actually learn the proper steps of what I need to do to get to my goals. And eBay's there.
So have you actually started to put things on there yet, or no?
Yes, I've already made like 18 sales on eBay.
Wonderful.
Within like 2 weeks. So
now, are you cross-listing from Mercari over to eBay? Or are you doing new things, different things on eBay than Mercari? Or
I'm doing newer ones, but there's also items that I had on Mercari that have been sitting there for a while, and I'm taking those and transferring those over onto eBay. And I've already sold a handful of those things that had been sitting over Mercari.
So it's a little bit of both.
Yes.
So some of your inventory might work better on one platform versus the other. Are you using like List Perfectly or Vendoo to do that, or no?
No, I am not to that point yet.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm just trying to get where you are.
Yeah. No, I literally like joined eBay like 2 weeks ago. Like wow. I had never bought anything off eBay. I had never really gone on eBay to do much of anything.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I thought it would be interesting to actually try to document my journey on it, because I am one of those people that I have never dealt with the eBay. Just never I don't think you
brand
come
new.
across that. You don't come across it very often.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been buying on eBay for many years before we started selling on it, but yeah, usually some people have some sort of, connection with it before they start selling on it. So that's very interesting.
I think, Laura, when we started back in 2013, 14-ish, it was really just eBay and Craigslist. There weren't many other platforms, Amazon, okay?
Right.
But Mercari really wasn't prevalent. I remember hearing it for the first time. I'm like, oh, that sounds like hokey. But I think if we were just starting out reselling, I would do the same thing. I would start out on the easier platforms, kind of get our feet wet. Like, you think that you would feel the same way?
I think so too, because
Yeah.
eBay is like the behemoth of the platforms when it comes to just the knowledge that the amount of knowledge that you need to have in order to do it well. And I don't think, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't sell on those other platforms, but from what people have told us, that the other ones are just a little simpler to list. They're not as picky about their sellers. And, once they get to be as big as eBay, maybe that won't be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, and I hear you. Just saying, popping people in. People said, "Yeah, good thumbnail," but what do I know? I'm no expert, right? Marcy says, "Let's get ready to rumble." So we got some clickbait there with the boxing gloves. So she thinks it's going to be a fight today. That's why she tuned in. Thank you, Marcy. And then we have Patrick. I guess his ears are burning. We were talking about you earlier. I do remember a month or two ago you found a He-Man toy, Patrick, with a French fry in it, I believe. And we were talking about how we would probably sell that fry on eBay as well. Parted out, right? Parted out.
Oh my gosh.
It's gross. But so, all right, let me get rid of this share screen deal. But let's, yeah, right. So Mercari, Lori and I know nothing about Mercari, except with eBliss, we ship for people that sell on Mercari.
Right.
How has that been? Like, what do you like about it?
The simplicity of it, the user-friendly aspects of it, and the fact that shipping, you don't have to think of a whole lot about it. Like the majority of the time, all you have to do is put the weight in, and you don't necessarily have to put dimensions in. So it's pretty clean cut, and you don't have to worry about that a whole lot. And that's the appeal to it.
Does Mercari have the option to do your own labels, or you can choose their labels? Now, what's the advantage or disadvantages of each option?
So I think the one common thing with Mercari, as far as the disadvantage of their labels, they don't go in anybody's thermal printers. They're too big. So everybody has to resize their labels in order to work properly.
Well, actually, there's a really easy, quick workaround for that.
Yeah.
If you just do a screenshot of it.
That's what a lot of people do, but they don't like that. They don't like the fact that they have to go in and resize it. So
well, it's not really resizing. You just take a screenshot of the label and then you print that screenshot. Well,
I don't think a lot of people know how to figure it out.
I'm talking from a Mac standpoint, so but I'm assuming it's the same on a Windows computer. You just take a screenshot of it, because I've noticed that on some of when we're shipping for our clients and they send us the label and it's like a half size, I think. So you don't have the option to change that at all. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when those come in, we have two options. We can put labels through a printer, which Marcy prefers to do, but I prefer to just screenshot it, bring it up in preview, print it, you resize it, and you don't have to resize it. You just have to tell it you're printing to a 4x6, and then rotate it, fit to the scale, and boom, you're done. It actually goes pretty quickly once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I think as far as like for the shipping itself, I mean, their prices are fairly decent to me. There might be a little bit high on some of the things, but I think if you have the ability to go, because I just started looking into like pirate ship, like I don't know a whole lot about that. So, but I know a lot of people like to do it that way as well. So I think it's just whatever works best for you.
Right. Cool. Thanks. Awesome.
We, just, starting out on eBay a while ago and only really doing eBay, we lost money on shipping. We learned as we went. So, you mentioned on Sunday when I DM'd you, I'm like, that is so cool. Really, we'd like to have you on and just promote, like, hey, follow Shae on Instagram, and you're going to be doing shorts mostly on YouTube about this as well. Okay. Yeah. So your YouTube channel as well, and follow what you, your journey. Cause, ours, we made so many mistakes starting out going to eBay. So if you're real, which we talked about earlier, it's like if you're real about like, hey, this is challenging, you may want to do it this way, people are really going to pick up on it and learn a lot. So I think that's cool. Just want to say, soulmates, hello all. Miscellaneous by Marcy says having the option is nice for books. That can be media mail. So media mail, not an option.
There's no media mail option on Mercari.
Really? Interesting.
Okay. And here's a question. Do you think the new increased shipping rates on Mercari will affect sales?
I don't think so, because I think it's going to be the same way as any other platform that's going to have a sale, like an increase in that, because I believe it was 7 cents an increase, I think, on everything on Mercari. So I don't think that, I mean, it's going to happen. It's not, I don't think it's going to affect sales really a whole lot.
All right.
So I'm sorry, can I just, we'll get off the shipping question and the subject in a minute, but I'm just curious. So when you say you didn't have to put in dimensions, so does Mercari just have like flat amounts that the label costs based on the weight? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's like 4 ounces and under, I think it's like $3.65. And then if it's up to 8 ounces, it's $4.80. And then it goes up from there. So it's.
And are the buyers paying additional shipping when you sell it, or do you do free shipping?
So I mean, it's like you can choose, like they pay for shipping, or you can do free shipping and you pay for it. I mean, so I don't do free shipping. I don't do that at all. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah,
interesting.
So if you were to, I saw a couple of your sold shorts on YouTube, and you're like, Mickey Mouse for $20 on Mercari. Now on top of that, the buyer is paying shipping on top of that. Okay, so how would you list that on eBay? Like, have you given it much thought? Are you going to have to change your pricing to now?
So whenever I look on, like when I'm trying to find comps, I will usually, I started looking on eBay and Mercari to kind of get an idea of what the market is on each one. And usually they're pretty close, but some, like, you could tell like eBay is going to be a little bit more. So like that was like, I'm not on eBay. I can't really list over there. So then sometimes and then on Mercari, I try to price it to where relatively close to the competition, but I know at some point I'm going to have to like either mark it down or somebody's going to send an offer, like, because that's Mercari is huge on offers. Like you don't have the option to turn that off.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's.
That would drive you nuts, Dave.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I would quit.
Yeah.
We just as a background, we Lori and I we turned off best offers on each of our accounts. We each have 1,600 listings on each of our accounts on eBay, and we turned off best offer because we're like, wait, we're sourcing good items that have a track record of being sold. We don't need to entertain lowball offers, and it's a sap on your time. So we turned them off like 3 years ago, and it was like beautiful. It was like, wow, this is great. Then we were desperate last towards the end of last year. Like our sales are so bad, what's going on? So we turned it back on. So the dopamine effect of like, oh, I'm getting offers. This is great. Like in reality, it's not really a good business practice, in my opinion, because you're taking way less, like 40% offers, and it was a drain. So, and that's pretty much it. So I would have a tough time on Mercari, that's for sure. Do you plan on having best offers on your listings on eBay?
There's certain things I have best offer on, and I think that's just like because it's bigger items. So I like the toy stuff I have. I have a set price. It is what it is. But I think there's a couple of there's miniature paintings that I have that I've had for a while that I put up. Like they're like, it's like 3.5 by 2 size, and I have them up for 120 right now a piece. So yeah, that's those kind of things. Or I'm learning to send out offers to watchers. Those kind of things I'm slowly learning how to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, eBay just probably, I don't know this for a fact, but it just seems like eBay is just so many options.
There's so many
options, tools, things to know, things to definitely not do. You just can't, I feel like on eBay, you can't just assume anything and you can't just skate by. You really kind of have to learn the platform and know what they want of you. Otherwise you could you may not be on there for very long, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sure you've done that. I mean, you've taken it slow. You're just, dabbling in, and you're going to grow. You're going to, it's going to move forward by, naturally, it sounds like to me. Because, I mean, some people just like to go super fast, and that could cause them problems.
Well, that's I've learned the last couple of years. I've gone through and like I've experienced different things, and I just know that like you cannot run yourself into the ground when you're learning something new, because you will hurt yourself in the process, and you will not grow from it. And so whenever I started like wanting to really get into this journey of reselling and actually taking it seriously, I'm taking it slow, and I'm not going to sit there and full throttle into anything, because I'm going to screw myself over if I do that. So it's the same thing with eBay. Like, I'm taking my time, but I also have an amazing community of people who I've had multiple people reach out and like, hey, if you need anything, if you have any questions, like, we're here. And I very much appreciate that. But no, I have a core group of people who are constantly there for me, and I'm asking, I don't know how many questions all the time, but it's just making sure that I'm covering my steps. And
but it's a really smart way to do it though, because I think a lot of resellers, they jump into the deep end, and they go like head first into multiple platforms at once. And I feel like sometimes they don't learn enough about each of them to do really successfully on any of them. So you're very smart, and you've got Mercari down. I mean, you could teach us everything we probably need to know about that. And now you're added another platform, and I mean, maybe you said you started on Poshmark and that didn't work, so then you went to Mercari, and now you're adding eBay. I think that's really smart, because I just think doing too much too fast is a way for people to fail.
It causes burnout, and then you don't want to do anything. So that doesn't lead to success. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. So
just saying hi to LAG lag.
Hello, David.
Ellen David. Is David in Australia?
I believe he's Ireland.
Ireland. Okay. I knew there was a time difference. Yeah. Totally. I think that's just interesting, because how many items do you currently have listed?
Oh, geez. Let's see, on Mercari, I think it's close to 540 items listed on Mercari. Okay. And then on eBay, I'm fluctuating around 50 right now. So.
All right. Nice. Yeah. And so I'm sure you've gotten tips from everyone, like call in every month and say, get your level or your limits raised on eBay. This way you're ready to go, or you don't even know. There's so much to know.
There's so much. It's just a constant like flow of information I'm having to keep up with. And I'm doing what I can, but I'm also not going to like overload myself with it either.
Yeah. So. I can't, Laura, I don't know about you, but we were going to, I don't know, I'm going to say this. We were going to start listing on Poshmark, but I'm just not energized to do it just yet. We have a bunch of clothes, good stuff that really should be on there, but learning a new platform, like the ins and outs, it does detract from really like kicking butt at one, which eBay is ours. So we need to, I don't know if we would cross, like, have you given it much thought, or going like putting some of our stuff on Mercari, or now that Poshmark has electronics would you even consider it?
Okay. Well, we did actually put a few things on Poshmark. I'm talking like 24. I mean, it wasn't a lot at all. And we've sold a few things. I've not really spent a lot of time on it. I've not really done a lot of the sharing thing that you're supposed to do. That's supposed to make you so successful.
Poshmark is a whole other thing with when it comes to sharing, and you like share other people's posts, and you get into the parties. Like there's designated parties for different items, and so like once you share on there, then you get more views. Yeah, it's a whole other thing. So
it's a completely different animal than most other platforms, especially eBay. But the only thing I've really done was delist and relist through Vendu. That was the only thing a couple times. And that was very easy. So to answer your question, unfortunately, our process, because we have employees that do the listing and that do the shipping and all this stuff, unless those items were sort of incorporated to eBliss. I don't see us doing that because of our process, the way our process works right now. We'd have to adjust our process pretty significantly in order to do that, and or we'd have to do it personally. And I don't know if I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not worth your time then. It's not.
I don't know if it's worth my time or not because we've never really done it. All I know is it could be. I don't know.
So S's ears perked up when he said parties.
Parties.
So S, oh my gosh.
Yes, they call them parties. They have it designated to certain brands, like items, and you can only share those things into that party.
That's why as resellers, we all say, well, I'm a reseller. Yeah, but there's different types of resellers. And I do believe Poshmark has a lot of people that have passion for fashion. I just made that up, right? Could that be a new
that
Poshmark?
Sounds good.
Passion for, I bet you Poshmark steals that. Passion for fashion, right? But you have a lot of passionate fashionistas that really understand it and like it.
Yes.
And they curate or whatever they call it. And it's almost like an art, right? And then you have those people that are just like, I'm a reseller. It's all about transaction and turnover, ITR, and they just pay about. And people are like, whoop, like you're boring me with this, and move on. So every platform is unique, and that's why it's kind of cool. So yes, parties. Poshmark has parties, and it's mostly sipping wine. So I don't know if that's right up your alley. But Wilder was actually saying great platform, but for some it's a total time sucker, and that's the sharing of the closet. The Poshmark, you share your items. So so we will keep this to Mercari versus eBay right now. So round one, I think it was a draw. All right. Actually, I'm going to give it to Shae because she educated us that Mercari is easy to, get going. And now easy to ship.
Yes.
But you're always getting offers, and it could,
Now, I had a question just about Mercari in general. When Dave said we knew nothing about Mercari, that wasn't quite true. The only thing I knew about Mercari was that they don't like resellers. Apparently, meaning that they don't really like to have. It's really for people who just are kind of casually selling out of their house or something like that.
I don't know how you're going to prevent that, though.
Well, I thought the same thing. How are they going to? But apparently, I've heard that people have gotten shut down because they were real resellers or something like that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the only thing I knew about Mercari, really. So
I mean, I haven't heard anything like that as far as I've never heard anything like that, but
or maybe they changed, perhaps. Maybe they changed their view on that.
So I don't know.
So I'm gonna get before we get into round two, where hopefully, Lori, you and I could win round two. Let's just take a look. Gonna digress a little bit or go off script if we even have a script. But what is Whatnot? What is this? Whatnot, Lori and I. Is this like a new? Can you?
It's a new platform that is coming in. It's another platform for resellers or collectors to sell off on auctions, and usually they're about 30 seconds a piece for one item, and they can start out at $1. And then I believe if somebody buys one item, I think it's like. Somebody can correct me on this. I think Jen's in here. She's just started it. But I think it's a baseline of like $4.99 for shipping. And then after that, anything else, it's like $1 for shipping, something like that. But anyways, it's just like, to me, it's a website for auctions, and you can do action figures, like cards, die cast. I think they're getting into jewelry.
There's like small things, mainly smaller things.
Yeah. There's clothing, like vintage clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's just like this. It's the new platform that everybody's getting into, and I had made a post about that last night, saying that I was holding off, even though I was accepted into it, that I was holding off on it because I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew.
Right, you almost have to apply to be on it, right? Don't you?
Yes, you have to. You have to submit an application. It has to be reviewed. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, you have to apply. You have to apply for like one specific type of category.
Metric category.
Yeah.
I wonder do they limit the number of people that can be selling on the categories?
Yeah, I would imagine that you could get too many of like action figures or die cast. Or
right. Very neat.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's just it's an auction site.
Yeah. I don't know. I always say we're too old for this. It's like it can't teach an old dog new tricks. We always kid around and say like, oh, Lori and we're turning into eBay curmudgeons. Curmudgeons is the term we use for just, I don't want to change. But, this reselling industry is evolving. I mean, there's so many things out there like Whatnot, all these new platforms coming out where it's like, you kind of have to just find which one works for you. Now, I always say, like, if you're not having fun, don't do it. If you're not having fun reselling, I mean, is it really worth it? Like, how are you doing with 500 something listings? Are you overwhelmed, or are you still having fun with it?
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to reselling, I've just seen it as like reselling is my core. That is like my foundation. And I started out with Mercari because it worked easy for me. And I'm going into eBay because I know I need to grow. And having that, like, just having the reality check of like, no, reselling is like, that is what it is for me. And I'm going to have fun with it. And that's the reason why I do YouTube. YouTube is like that is my creative outlet. That's the reason why I do this. I try to explain to my husband all the time. Like, he's like, well, what do you get out of doing YouTube? And I'm like, I like the creative aspect of it. I like the community of it. And it also, it's free advertising for everything else that I do. So, but having like the bigger inventory, it doesn't bother me. It's not overwhelming. And I just redid my inventory, like the way that I have everything set up. So I know where everything's at. It's not like guessing, oh, I remember it was over here in this box. Like, no, I actually have like an inventory list of like where everything's at now.
So I was just going to ask what your inventory system is. Would you mind sharing that?
So I use banker boxes. I just switched over, and all my boxes are song title.
Like, interesting.
I don't have numbers. I don't have letters. They're like song titles. Yeah.
I've never heard of that one before, but that is definitely creative.
Yeah, I'm an oddball. What can I say?
I think resellers are creative. I can't get over the amount of resellers out there you would think are just like, oh, I'm boring, a reseller. But look, Shae's on Instagram. It's not like you love, performing or whatever, or like, Tommy says, curmudgeon.
That's correct.
eBay, we are curmudgeons. We're just like, well, I don't need to go. But I think the creative outlet, that Instagram stories that you do, and I always say that Shae does this, boom, boom, boom. It's just a creative. It looks professional, and
I'm just winging it.
You're winging it, okay?
I'm winging it.
Right. I think many of us are winging it. Speaking of, I just want to say hi to Soulmates. He goes, how do you spell that, Dave? I think he's talking about Whatnot.
No. It's just, I think he was talking about curmudgeon.
Oh, curmudgeon?
That's why Tommy said that.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought, but I could be wrong.
Curmudgeon versus curmudgeon. Okay. Curmudgeon. And see, we all have ADD too as resellers.
Shiny.
Shocking. Yeah, that's why we love shopping, because we're just like looking for the treasures all the time. But I think the creative thing, like I was just talking to Soulmates this morning actually about Instagram and doing stories, and I think you just learn as you go. And if you have fun, you just slap a story, and if people like it, who cares? I mean, what's the point? It's really, I think it's for us to really get enjoyment out of too. And it's like a homework assignment. You hand it in, you want to see if you're going to get those likes. Just like Lori, you need to be on more reels. Everybody wants you on there.
I know.
No, yeah. So, yeah. So you said your husband was selling on eBay for a long time. So you have him to kind of lean on as well, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Somewhat. Like he's not like, he's not like a reseller. Like he's kind of learning too. But there's also a lot of stuff that he doesn't know about, or he's learning as I'm going. And
it's changed a lot in 20 years.
Yes.
I mean, it's changed in the last, from when Dave started, it's changed a lot, even since then. So, and it's always changing, it seems.
Yeah, like I was figuring out how to do multiple shipping labels the other day. He's like, how the hell did you even do that? I'm like, I figured it out. Wow, right. I went and figured it out on my own. Like, he's like, oh, okay.
Do you... this is one thing that popped into my head, like switching to a different platform. Do you think you'll source a little bit differently? Do you think you're going to open it up to more categories, or get a higher average selling price on?
I don't have, I mean, I think within this last year, I've realized I just can't pick up everything. Like you learn how to filter things out, and then you learn. For me, I didn't know a whole lot about toys to begin with, and so I've learned that over this past year. And so I know like now what sells, what doesn't sell, what goes for a little bit more. I think just having that knowledge and taking it over into eBay, like I'll have the ability to like, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for things if I know like maybe I can get more for this, or if it's not a toy, it'll be okay to post over here. I don't see myself going like in a different direction or changing a whole lot. I just think I'll be more open-minded about it.
I'm just curious to know, how did you just stumble into selling toys, or did you make that conscious choice?
No, it fell into my lap.
Okay, interesting.
But it's the fact that they're easy to source, they're easy to ship, and they're easy to store. So it's just the whole aspect of it's easier.
Are they easy to list?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for the majority of it, like if there's certain things but like Google Lens has made that so much easier in itself too. But the majority, I'll have an idea of what something is, but if I need like a specific title of something, then I'll go and do a little bit more research in it. Yeah, it's not too difficult.
So back when I started reselling, I always kid around, but I actually am serious. I thought I invented reselling. I really did. This was back in 2013. I walked into a Goodwill outlet and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this stuff has a value somewhere. I just have to find the end user buyer. So a friend of mine was selling on eBay. So he was like my mentor, and he would sell specialized equipment, tools and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I could just flip stuff at a Goodwill, whatever. So Lori and I, mainly me for a couple of years, kind of found the niche in electronics over time. And the reason why we did that is because it had a model number. It was easy to look up on eBay based on the model number and then the sales history. How did you do that on Mercari? Like if you were listing on Mercari, how did you vet these items in the field when you were sourcing, if they were worthwhile or not?
I mean, I learned Google Lens was the biggest thing, and then I went over and I just did a search into Mercari, and it's the same thing as what you would do on eBay. It's the same thing. I don't know. It's just it took a lot of learning, and it took a lot of filtering things, and I don't know. It's just a lot. Like you when you're starting off new, you're gonna look at everything, and it's gonna suck up your time. And then eventually, you kind of filter through and you figure out, okay, well, this isn't worth my time. Right. It's a process. That's happened within like less than a year.
You nailed it, because I know there's a couple people in the chat, S in particular, who's kind of just starting out. And he's, finding his way. And for years, my thumbs still hurt from looking up, pounding away on your phone. But that's how you form this database in your head, right? So you have
to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And you do have to learn it. And see, my ADD kicks in. I see this in the comment. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I'm glad he's here today. But you form this database in your head of, like I look for this toy, is Care Bears something? Okay. He-Man, Care Bears, G.I. Joe, and you could walk, you're probably the type that could go out to a flea market and walk up and down the aisles and be like, 80s toy, 80s toy, 80s toy.
But you learn that. That's the thing. Like you have to learn how to you start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And it's not easy. It's gonna be hard. But once you get into it, then it's fun.
Yeah. It's so interesting because some people do that by brands. Like strictly by brands, like for clothes and stuff. Like they just know what brands sell or what kind of fabric sells or something. I don't know. I don't how they do it. And then Dave is the same way. He can go to a flea market and just know what, we have sold, what looks like it might have value. And if he doesn't know something, he'll look it up. But nowadays you don't really have to look up much, right?
That's the thing. I think over time, Shae, you're going to get in such a groove where you're going to save so much time probably on sourcing, because your eye's going to pick it up and you won't have to look it up. I think that's the cool thing. I think we become efficient in our business, whether it's listing and shipping and all that jazz. So,
I mean, when it comes to learning how to source things, it's people have asked me like, well, how do you know what to look for? just to start off with. And I'm like, well, the common answer that I usually say is like, start with what you know. Like, start with like things that you know. If you recognize something, then go from there. That's at least it's a starting point for you to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I mentioned earlier that there's a bunch of resellers out there that are very creative. Here's one right here. I don't always sell on Mercari, but when I do, I prefer eBay or Dos Equis. Have a great day.
Roman.
Another keep sourcing, my friends.
Yes. You almost said that in his voice. You could have probably.
I got to work on it a little bit. Not Roman's voice, but the Dos Equis guys.
The Dos Equis. Yes.
I love that Dos Equis guy because there's way too many good memes with him on him out there. Yeah. I love that. But it's the truth, he prefers selling on eBay. It's true. You learn. You got to find your sweet spot. Yep.
Well, up until like a couple months ago, Dave, I mean, our thought process? Well, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know about that anymore.
I don't know if it's starting to look broken.
I know.
I mean, did we ever get into round 2 of this Mercari eBay?
Not yet.
You know what? You just want to forfeit, Shae won.
I don't know. Well, I think when you're on eBay and it's such a broad audience, eBay is going to take it no matter what. Honestly, with Mercari, yes, it's a new platform, and yes, it's user friendly, and you can make sales. You can make money on there because I did this last year. I'm not gonna sit there and dog it, but if you really want to grow and actually make something of your business, you're gonna have to incorporate eBay in some aspect of that.
Yeah,
right. At some point.
Yep.
I always say eBay is like calculus and all these other platforms are like basic math. And it's the truth. I probably, like we said earlier, I probably would have started on Mercari just to get my feet wet, sell on Craigslist. I think have you ever sold on Craigslist, Shae? Or Facebook Marketplace, I guess? Local pickup?
I was like, well, that's the thing. You're like, well, I used to look on Craigslist. I usually use it to look up yard sales, but I don't sell anything on there now.
Yeah.
But I've sold things here and there on Facebook, but nothing big.
In 2020, Lori and I were going over our numbers end of last year or whatever, and we're like, yeah, we sold 10,000 items on eBay mainly in 2020. It was a great year for us, great numbers, the whole bit. And 2021 happened, and it's like, what happened? And so we were like, what's the deal? Like, should we branch off into another platform? We're like, no, I just think the reselling community, I'm not going to throw my conspiracy theory out there, but there is a lot of competition out there, and that combined with economic factors is, it's challenging. So Jen was saying, Shae makes me want to niche down because becoming an expert in one thing ultimately and all that we really need, as long as it's a good category. I totally agree. I mean, we're electronics. We know what we sell, and I don't know, like we could add another category, Laura, but that's not our goal. Like our reselling business is kind of like we're in maintenance mode because we're doing e-bliss. Yeah. So, but Wilder says yes, like sourcing shoes. Wilder uses us, and she travels the country. She's in an RV with her 3 dogs right there, and she sources and sends her lists and sends her stuff in. So yeah, I don't know. I think you have to enjoy it. You have to have fun. I went to the bins the other day. You have bins near you, or?
I drive an hour to get to the bins.
Oh boy!
Oh wow!
Yeah. I usually drive about 45 minutes to an hour in either direction to go sourcing.
Wow!
Yeah, because like anything that we have here where I live at, it's all Goodwills and everything's marked up like crazy, so it's not even worth it for me.
So you do have a lot of flea markets out there, or no?
During the summertime, but I still have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to it. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm keeping track of my mileage. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's why we always kid around. It's like, ABS, always be sourcing, no matter where you go. I know you went down to Texas over Christmas, right? You visited your dad and you met up with Tracy and went to the bins down there.
Yeah.
And, how was it going to another bins?
I am spoiled by the bins that I go to up here. Because like the amount of just stuff and the amount of bins they have, the one that I go to, and they're constantly like rotating out. So it's every 2 hours they rotate. So it's just a constant flow of new stuff rather than like I'll go to other ones and they barely have anything there or they don't rotate or
right.
I don't know. I'm spoiled with mine.
Yeah. So Lori and I, we for the last 2 years we head up the Denver eBay meetup group, which is they've been in existence for a while, but we took over for a previous coordinators who were kind of phasing out of eBay. It's interesting because we haven't really had many face-to-face meetings, but I think it is important, like you said earlier. You have a good network of people that you could bounce things off of. But I think the face-to-face meetings really help a lot more than Zooms and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So when you met up with Tracy, was that like the first time you ever met her in person?
It was the first time I met her.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, I mean, when we had just been talking for a few weeks here and there, I mean, I talk to her almost every day now.
That's neat.
But yeah, no, but it's also hard to find there's certain people that you click with a little bit more than others, or just trying to navigate this space in general. It's hard to see how people are, and it's if you really want to let them in or not. But no, Tracy's awesome. I love her. She's cool.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, speaking of support, how have you found? I don't know if you've needed it yet, but what is your sense of the support from eBay versus the support you could get as a reseller, as a seller on the platforms, versus Mercari? Have you had any experience with that yet?
I haven't had any experience with that yet. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you may have heard the term concierge. Have you heard that thrown out there on eBay? You're smiling like you know what that is. So concierge. What have you heard about concierge?
You can go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Oh, okay. Oh.
You're just joking. You don't know. You're just
no. Okay. Okay. Concierge. Laura, you want to take over?
Yeah, no, okay. Have you ever called eBay at all for any sort of customer service? Okay.
No, I have. I mean, I literally, it's only been a couple of weeks. So.
Right. Okay. I'll give you a heads up.
Yeah.
The first time you call, it probably won't be the best experience.
Okay.
So if you can do anything other than calling, that probably would be helpful. They have an email option, I believe, and they also have a chat option, but I'm not sure if that's available to everyone or not. But anyway, concierge is a separate set of their customer service people, and they have to be in the United States. They speak English like we do. They're better trained. They can handle your issue a lot better than their outsourced version in wherever they are. I'm not really sure where they are, but they're not in the United States. So when eBay had their eBay Open conferences, they gave all the attendees concierge service. So when those people would call in, they would get that set of customer service reps. And it's like a night and day experience from what I remember.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Oh, it absolutely is. So, and the other way you can get it is to actually have an anchor store, which nowadays, I don't know anybody personally who has an anchor store anymore because they just recently redid the store levels. We used to have an anchor store because we needed that many free listings per month because we end them and relist them. But then they basically said, well, the lower store down will have the same amount. So I'm like, well, I don't need the anchor store anymore. I don't have to pay the $300 per account for the store. But we still have the concierge because we went to eBay Open. So anyway, the whole point about concierge is it's the service that they provide, their sellers for questions, issues. And, a lot of people who don't have concierge will use the Facebook group, the eBay for Business Facebook group. They'll message them and they have found that they've gotten pretty good results there. But yeah, nothing beats concierge, honestly. So yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
No, when it comes to Mercari, I haven't had, knock on wood, I haven't had a lot of issues in general. So I've had, I think at 660 sales on Mercari. I think that's what I'm at. So.
I actually heard recently a couple people were kind of booted off Mercari. Did you hear that, or did that come up on a couple of your lives?
Well, there's been a couple people who had their accounts taken down because they're thinking that they were selling counterfeit items.
Oh.
Yep.
But yeah,
can't do that on eBay either.
But yeah, so I mean, I've seen one where it didn't go very well for them, and then there's another one where the issue was resolved. So I think it's just a matter of how you actually handle that situation.
I think I'm going to say eBay has really changed over the years. I think it was 8 years ago, Laura, when I think we had 2 accounts, and I got shut down on one. And this is before we had concierge, and I sold a Beachbody P90X. You ever hear of those? Like those. And I was like, look, there's a track record of these selling on eBay, and it got flagged. And the whole Vero thing, or not even, I don't even know what it is,
Probably
you're not
was
allowed
Vero.
Yeah. And I was just livid, right? So that one account at the time got shut down. I'm like, I can't take this chance banking on these platforms, which was eBay at the time, of supporting me or backing me up. And I think that they've changed a lot, Laura. Like, I think they've kind of loosened up. And if you demonstrate that you're a good seller, you have good standing, and honestly, I would say get involved. Like, get your name in there, be kind of like a influencer. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Lori?
I mean, the goal with eBay is to not get yourself in trouble to begin with. I think if you can avoid it, but then there's certain ways you can't avoid getting a strike for a Vero or something like that. Even we get them every once in a while. It's like, we had no idea you could do, and all it takes is a disgruntled employee at some other company trying to say they don't want you to sell their stuff secondhand, which is completely false. You're totally allowed to do that. But I don't know. I mean, Dave is right. The more you immerse yourself in the community, for lack of a better word, the better off you will be all around. I mean, obviously we have the advantage of being a meetup coordinator, which puts us in front of certain people at eBay, which helps as well.
Yeah.
But, I think eBay does want their sellers to be successful. I just think that there are so many of them that they have to be very, very picky in particular. So they don't put up with a lot of, things that don't go right. If you're not doing things that they want, they will just forget, they can do that. So hopefully that won't be you.
Yeah. And that's the reason why, that's why I'm trying to learn how to do everything the right way and the correct way. And what, if I have an idea of I shouldn't sell this on there, that I'm not gonna put it on there. I'm making sure I'm doing it the right way so I don't get in trouble.
Good.
It just takes time. Yeah. Tommy says everyone has concierge now.
That is news to me.
Well, that's good to know.
He may be referring to the fact that you kind of have to submit your question ahead of time. Let's put it this way. I think the level of customer service has increased dramatically over the last 2 years, because remember, they weren't really having that call in and get somebody, you submit the chat feature and stuff.
Right. They didn't have a chat feature, which I don't know if that's available to everybody or not, because we only see what we see as concierge sellers. I know they definitely have an email feature. So if your concern or your issue is not time sensitive, definitely is a good way to do it, because you have it in writing. You have a documentation of what they said. But calling up, I think you can call them and they will call you back. I just don't know who's going to call you back, if it's going to be a concierge or a non-concierge, and you'll know right away which one it is.
And he's saying they don't really filter it out now, so that could
I don't know, because that was always a feature of the Anchor store, which is very expensive, and so I mean, you're kind of paying for that. So I don't know. I'm going to look into that, because I think it would be awesome if everybody had concierge, because that's the way it really should be, to be honest. I mean, nobody should have to talk for an hour to somebody to try to get their point across, because they don't understand what, they're not trained properly or whatever. So that would be great.
So Shae, we asked earlier, do you see yourself branching out into other categories, or saying, you know what, I can't sell stuff for $18 anymore. It's not worth my time because of whatever reason, who knows? Do you see yourself kind of branching out? Because Tommy even says, there should be a motivation to learn different categories, because Goodwill's missing loads of stuff.
No, I know. I get what he's saying. I mean, I'm trying to, I keep an eye out for shoes. There's just that's a normal thing. And I try to keep an eye out for certain kinds of clothing. Because like I said, I did Poshmark for a while, and I have an idea of what brands to look for, and certain labels. I know Anthropologie has different sub levels of labels. And so I know what to look for when it comes to those kind of things. I I know those sort of things, but I think in my area, the majority of people who do source their clothing, their shoes, I don't know a whole lot about glass, but I'm willing to learn. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to learn anything, or I'm going to not branch out, because you can't grow and you can't learn if you shut it out. So I'm not going to say no.
and you said earlier, using Google Lens is the game changer. I know that's used way too often, but it's so true, Lord. Like, back when we started, there was no Google Lens. So you had to look for markings on an item, look up tags, whatever. So now Google Lens could at least help determine what it is. So that's huge.
Well, Google Lens, and then also having the community people that we do, and the variety of different categories that everybody knows about. Because like, I know somebody it's good with vintage clothing, or I know somebody who does well with glass, or if I see something that strikes like, okay, I should probably look into this, I'll shoot them a picture like, hey, is this worth it? Like, can you help identify what this is for me? Like, it's you just using that support system too is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Well, you sold 18 things in how many weeks? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
I know. I remember when you reported, hey, I just sold my first or second thing
I was
on eBay.
live, I think, when I had my first sale.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I just sold something. Like, I was very happy that I sold like a pan, a pan the other night for $80. So that was like, oh yes, that's awesome. Like,
yes, love it.
But yeah, no,
so a lot of people report when they first start on eBay. This has been so long since we started, so I can't even remember. And I had nothing to do with eBay when Dave first started. But a lot of people report that they have scammers or people trying to like do weird things, like make weird offers. Have you had any of that go on yet?
Knock on wood, no.
Probably will, because I'm just letting you know, because they target people with like very low feedback.
I've been warned of that.
Yeah.
And I usually don't deal with people if they start asking me weird questions or just like repetitive kind of stuff. I won't deal with them. It's the same thing on Mercari. Like, if you're going to sit there and bug me about the same thing over and over again, or you're not willing to actually read what I'm writing, I'm not going to deal with you.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times they'll ask you to do things that eBay there's a very huge, big no on eBay, like contact them off eBay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Definitely don't do that, because that'll get kicked off eBay real fast.
No, I think in Mercari, I think they have you can't share any like certain information. It'll automatically block you from sharing anything. So, which is nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very cool. Makes you want to branch off into other categories. I mean, it's exciting because we all, as resellers, kind of get in a little bit of a rut. Like, hey, nothing's selling. And like Tommy was saying earlier, branch off into a different category, maybe diversify your sales that way. That's one way to increase. We thought about it, but we haven't been doing it. No. But fashion is tough because it's a different, the photography is different. How like when you do toys, let's just say stick with toys. How many photos do you really have to provide for a toy?
I usually just try to, on average, I do between, I don't know, it's like between like 3 and 8. I think it just depends on the size of it, if it has some kind of function to it. If it's a transformer, like I like take it like in one form, and then I change it to the other one, and I make sure that I'm putting like where the marking is and stuff like that. Like, it kind of varies from toy to toy.
On eBay, they always say the more the better. They only give you 12, so it's not like you can take 100 anyway.
And with eBay, I'm learning that you have to be more specific in your title. Like, that's like, I'm having to like really think about that a little bit more now, like making sure that I have descriptive words and more descriptive words on the title.
Correct. You have to think, what if somebody was wanting to buy this, what would they put in the search?
Yeah.
So do you feel like we're in a cult when you have people saying eBay for life? I
don't think it's a cult. Yes, in some way, it is, but
I kind of feel it is. I don't know.
Slowly drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah,
I know. Always drinking the Kool-Aid. Lori, do you have your eBay swag mug? Are you going to drink the Kool-Aid? No, it's in the kitchen.
Yeah, I guess.
We always, it's kind of like a love-hate relationship. Every eBayer I speak to people that, have been selling longer than us are just like, I think I'm done. And then next week they're like, oh my gosh, I just sold this. And so they get sucked back in.
Yeah, she hasn't been selling long enough to have the hate part.
Well, you're gonna have those highs and lows. That's just inevitable. Like, you're gonna have those moments where it sucks. You're not gonna have any sales, but you have to stay consistent, because that's the only way it's gonna change anything.
That is very true.
Yeah.
When eBay knocks you down, you just have to get right back up.
Yeah, Tommy's well experienced with eBay, and he's a good friend of yours too, a good resource to reach out to. And he says, yeah, that's a concierge number, somebody, but everything really channels back to their centralized customer location. And like Lori was mentioning, like the eBay for Business, they care. I mean, they have full-time employees. It's not like some bot just with the automatic response. They care. So that's the good thing. Just get involved, join some, I'm not promoting this, Laura, but I always say this, but like we do the eBay meetups, right? And they're mainly Zooms.
Well, hopefully soon they won't be.
Okay.
But we'll continue the Zooms as well.
And I just think in-person networking is great. Yeah, and Tommy says he's trying to convince himself of eBay for life. It's true. Yard sales, I'm only eBay. Yep. And it's the truth. We all kind of have those tough times, but where else are we going to go? Where, especially if we're,
there's kind of there's a whole bunch of other options, but all together, I think even combined, they may not equal eBay.
So Soulmates was saying, yes, they have had several issues, and eBay has been responsive and helpful.
That's very good to hear.
Yeah. Shae, do you know people that sell on like Amazon as well? Or
I mean, I know of people who sell on Amazon, and that's a whole other beast in itself as well. So I have no interest in Amazon.
Beast is the right word, I think.
It's a whole other beast. I don't know, because I start hearing like different terms, like you have to be gated for certain things and this and that. And I'm just like, what? Okay, that's y'all can keep that.
And trying to get into touch with somebody at Amazon for a problem. I mean, forget it. I couldn't do it.
So Tommy says eBay is like being married twice. Good days and bad days 2 times.
Some days are better than others. Yeah,
we're still on our first marriage, so we're good. Just kidding. I shouldn't even kid around about that.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
No, thank you. All right. 26 years we've been married, but whatever.
Awesome.
So Shae, like what's interesting is with eBliss we have, I don't even know the exact amount. Let's just say close to 10,000 items under management from our clients. So that's not our reselling business. We have close to 4,000 in another warehouse, a couple units down. That's our reselling business. And we see kind of like what people are selling, a lot of fashion, and it's amazing. Like there's so many different categories. But what we have been seeing is a lot of people are saying, hey, I can't afford to sell stuff at $15, $18 anymore on eBay, because eBay is going to take their 10 to 13% right off the, regardless. And then if you do promoted listings, which I'm sure you've heard about, that could be another, call it 8 to 10%, and then shipping. So there's not much more meat left on the bone. Like, so we've seen a lot of people kind of ratcheting up how they source and or how they list. Like, could you, like for toys, especially like if you have one action figure that sells for $12, like, can you
bundle it?
Yeah, like, or could you bundle it up?
Yeah, that was like how I've tried to figure out what I wanted, my game plan for eBay as far as that, because toys, it's hard because there are a lot of smaller items and they're not going to be more than $15. So I've been trying to hone in on like the stuff that I already have that I know is going to sell for I'm aiming for more than 20. So that's like where I'm starting at my base right now. And that's the majority of what I've sold so far within the last couple of weeks has been around between $20 and $25, which is nice because it's a lot higher than what I've been doing on Mercari. So that's the baby step that I'm starting at, and then I'll work from there.
All right.
Smart. Yeah.
Just to clarify, what he meant is eBay's like having the second wife, like at the same time. Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Sister wives.
How about eBay, where polygamy is allowed? Where your second. I don't know. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Couch tonight. I'm gonna be on the couch tonight. I'm on the couch every night. Hey, if you're awake at 3 a.m., DM us because I'm awake.
Not me. Don't DM me.
Yeah,
because I'm sleeping. You might be up.
No doubt. So I think that's cool. I know we've been over an hour, and we could chat. And I want to, just once again, just to summarize, like what really kind of inspired me, or like triggered me to reach out to you.
Yeah.
Triggered was because you posted on Sunday that you are making this transition over to eBay from Mercari. I didn't realize you had that many listed on Mercari. I thought you were just dabbling in Mercari and be like, let me try eBay now. So you're consciously going to move to eBay because you feel like that could be a better platform for sales for you, and you're going to document it somehow. Like, how do you envision like your documenting process?
I mean, my plan is just to share the ups and the downs, the good and the bad, because I feel like I wanted to make a learning process for other people. And because, like I said, I'm coming from no eBay whatsoever. And so I think that in itself is unique. But being true to like actually telling people, yes, these things are hard, but there's a way around it. It doesn't have to be hard all the time. And so that's what the progression in your business is. And so I think like just sharing that whole aspect of it, and the way that I'm going to do it is just the way that I've been doing my shorts and this and that. Like I'm keeping it to my style, because if I go out of that realm, then I'm not being true to myself and it's not going to come, it'll come off fake. And I don't want that at all.
Yeah. Now we're bad at this. We should have had like Shae's links to her Instagram and her YouTube, but
I think we can put them in afterwards. Can't we?
You can edit it.
Yeah. Let's do that, because I would just follow, because so many people are so in the weeds with eBay, where people just tap on, oh, let me learn about eBay, and they hear Dave and Lori talking about like advanced promoted listings aren't good and best, and they're like, forget these guys, like I'm not even messing with eBay. So I think that's why it's neat to have somebody like you who's kind of green to eBay, gonna tell it like it is.
No, I'm gonna start with the bare bones of it, because you have to start with the bare bones, the foundation of it, and you work your way up. I mean, just sharing those aspects of it, I think, will be more appealing to people.
Yeah, and hopefully, eBay allows you to have fun during the process.
Yeah.
This, just to finalize the call, there's a reason why Utah has an office staff with the polygamy, Laura.
Oh, I just got that joke. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's why they're in Utah. Okay.
Right. So I just YouTube is probably going to say, here's a couple thumbnails you might want to use on your live with Shae, and one is going to be Lori going,
You're totally right. You're totally right.
Because you know what I'm talking about, Shae? Like they always give you suggested.
It's like a suggested, it's like freeze frame of like, sometimes like, what is that?
It's always the worst one, but it's funny.
But it's always Lori. I mean, she's very animated. So, but thank you for coming on. Seriously,
thank you guys for having me.
It was kind of like this is cool. Let's have her on and promote what she's going to be doing on her social media channels.
Yeah.
And I think it'll benefit a lot of people, and hopefully you'll get monetized. I don't even know what the heck that definition is.
Well, the only thing that I keep saying when it comes to YouTube and all that, like I'm organically growing my channel. I'm not trying to push it as like I need the numbers, this. I want people to actually be subscribed, that they actually want to follow my content. So that's where I'm at.
Right.
Would you just want to shout it out so people can look it up right now, or do we want to put it in the post? I mean, in the chat, would that be helpful?
For
your YouTube and your Instagram and all that? Is it the same name, Shae MD Picker?
Yeah.
Or
that's
what it is on YouTube and Instagram.
Yes, MD Picker. Yep.
Oh, just MD Picker.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I had Shae in so that people actually know my name, than just the MD Picker.
and also, where we first met you, I should say, was Dom.
Yes.
Primetime treasure hunter.
Yes.
He threw out on his Instagram, hey, looking for resellers who are just starting up a YouTube channel. And at the time, Lori and I were like, all we do is lives. I shot him a DM and he got back immediately, and you were on there. So it was me, you, and I think it was Gilstrap, the other couple that was starting out. And it was really cool because like he's got over 1,000 YouTube videos. Dom, he's like, the OG, everybody calls him. And I like his style. I think he's genuine and real. And that took time. And I think he had a lot of good positive things to say that I think I heard you just say, like, you're looking to do this organically and really get subscribers that want to connect, learn about you, and follow you. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Cool. And
can't wait to watch everything.
I know. And so you have a live tonight too.
Yes, I have a live tonight at night, and my dad will be on with me.
Your dad, Dennis, who goes by Sarge. What is it?
Salvage.
Sergeant Salvage.
Oh, yes. Nice name.
A veteran. Was he in the Army or Marines?
Army.
Okay. Yeah. Living down in Texas. So it's cool. I think you have a unique situation because you and your dad, I mentioned that you're like the only father-daughter YouTube duo out there, which is a nice dynamic.
Yes.
But thank you. I know an hour did go by very quickly, Jen said, and thank you so much for hopping on. And
thank you for everybody who joined us too.
Considering we've had some very excellent guests and interesting guests. 2 weeks ago, we had a cat. We had a cat named Smudge on who knows eBay, and now we had Tommy last week who's starting out Soulmates Boutique, and now Shae. I mean, it's an amazing community with some very creative people, and we wish you luck. And let us know if we could help you. If you DM us anytime, and we're available to answer any questions you have about eBay, especially. All right. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Until next week. See you then.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.